Hey everybody, dietary here. Welcome to my healthy keto mukbang. I have prepared this wonderful feast for me here. I have a mushroom soup right here, my creamy mushroom soup, my recent favorite. I have some shish kebab, skewered pork meat, shashlik, how we call it in Russian, an avocado salad, and an experimental meat pie. I'm going to see if it turns out. I tried to use the low-calorie base for the pizza as a half pie dough, so I stacked two of them. I'll see if it will actually work. Anyways, without further ado, I want to get right to this food because it smells and looks delicious. First things first, prayer and affirmations ritual. Thank you, God, for this wonderful life, this wonderful gifts, and the food you do for me. Thank you for the challenges which harden me and make me better. Thank you, God, so much. Food will be my benefit. My muscles grow strong in the mighty name of Jesus. My fats diminish in the mighty name of Jesus. I grow stronger and prosper in Christ Jesus. I'm a victor in Christ Jesus. So much. I give you all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Right. I'm going to begin with this because this is very tasty when it's fresh and like straight out of the grill. And holy crap, is it tasty? Yes, it is. Russians do shashlik, like you guys probably in Europe and America do barbecue. It's like the favorite. We mostly don't do barbecue, but we do shashlik a lot. And we like marinate the meat, take it with us to a location near a city, to some nature, some like a lake or some place, and make an open fire with coals and cook the meat on it. And it's delicious. Usually it's pork, like this. And it's soft, a bit acidic, because usually we use a lot of vinegar in the recipe. And of course when it's cooked on open fire, it has a better crust here, so less juice escapes and more crust. Like a crust is thicker and more juice is left in the meat. It's just, oh my god, so good. Right, so at home, of course, since you have a weaker grill than what the open fire provides, it's gonna have less of a crust, but it's still very good. And you can use an oven grill, kebab machine like I have, whatever. It's gonna be quite good if you just marinate it properly. This piece of fat is too much. Some people like to eat the fat. I like to skip it. I just keep it here so it oils the meat while it's cooked. Really makes it taste very well. Usually you have like a party of several people, and so you cook them all together on the open fire, and everybody gets his own skewer to enjoy, and then you cook the next party of like bunch of skewers, and so you don't have this issue of them becoming too cold. At home, of course, it's way slower to cook, and you usually cook all at once, because it's like a 15-minute wait for the next batch. And they'll be gone quite sooner than that. think I'm gonna put them here and let them heat on this panel right here, which heats the food. So we can move on with the dishes in proper order. Still so good. There's a debate whether you should use vinegar in the marinade for the meat, because vinegar should basically be for the purpose of infusing the meat with spices, so it's mostly should be based on oil and spices, because oil penetrates into the meat and brings the spices into the meat. But in Russia they often used, like in Soviet Union, in Russia, often used vinegar to tenderize the meat, so it's more tender, because the meat was quite hard, not the best quality. And now we are just used to this taste of acidic meat. Like, I personally love it so much, I just like the meat more when it has this taste. Many people do as well. So even though it's not like very important to put the vinegar there, people still do, like me, because we like the taste of the meat which has been subjected to vinegar. Right. Today actually we're going to talk about this topic. You know how they say, sometimes you maybe heard this, you are what you eat. So recently I felt like, not actually heard it, but felt it. I noticed how certain food affects me differently. How, despite the fact that I love all I eat, like I enjoy all the food I eat, I never eat something I don't enjoy, but it affects me differently, and I found that some food affects me negatively, and some food I should do my best to avoid, maybe. And so I felt this, that indeed I am what I eat, because I felt how it affects me, and it's true. You are what you eat. In your body cells, they die constantly, and your body has to recreate them constantly. So you constantly have this process where you make new body cells to replace the old ones, and those are made from the food you consume mostly. So naturally you are what you eat. This is just some avocado and some sesame seeds and some lemon juice, lime juice, or apple cider vinegar would go well here. And just enjoy this pleasant, fresh taste. Light, buttery, fatty like sensation, because avocado is quite high in sugar. And this fresh taste and the combination of flavors. Right. So indeed, yes, you are what you eat. And too many people, they don't notice this, don't pay attention to it. We often eat based on pleasure, what we prefer, what we like. We don't think about like what are we actually doing to our bodies. People often, even if they have issues with their health, don't think it's because they eat something wrong. They think it's like some illness, some virus, some disease. They don't look for the first and foremost case. What are you eating? You are what you eat. If you eat crappy food, which doesn't nurture you properly, naturally you're gonna have issues with your health, because your body will build upon this, and the result will be a body built with crappy ingredients. The crap will be the result. Like, our bodies are very well suited to adapt to different conditions. Our bodies do a very great job of trying to sustain ourselves in good condition. But if you feed your body poorly, then unfortunately the result is going to be poor as well. But when I think about it, when I thought about it, after I understood it applies to food, it like dawned on me that it applies to everything, really. It's more than just food. We're not just what we eat, we are what we consume, generally, in all senses and in all, like, different ways. For example, what thoughts we accept, what thoughts we reject, what kind of videos we watch, what kind of movies, what kind of books we read, what kind of information we consume, what kind of items we purchase and why. We become what we consume. We are what we consume, in a broad sense. Because you get multiple thoughts at any moment. Some of them you associate with, some you distance from. You might often have a random thought which is like harmful to you or something immoral you don't want to do. You distance from it. You're like, no, I'm not going to do this. No, it's not me thinking this. This is some crap. Or you get a thought which is pleasant to you, something pleasant to do, something you should do, you think, something you find appropriate to act upon. You associate with it, you take it with you, and you say, it's my thought, I think so, I think this, I think that. It's same with movies, songs, books. You consume them, read them, watch them, listen to them, and they affect you. You cannot deny it, right? Even if it's not like a pronounced effect where a book changes your life, you still get influenced by it. We are influenced slowly or quickly by events we pay attention to, by media we consume. It's so simple, it's so good. Just avocado and some seasoning, but it really is quite delicious. Right, so, and now you see, but nobody treats it this way. Nobody pays, almost nobody, me included, treats consuming as something which builds you, which makes you, which is what you will become in the future. Right? From our very birth, from our childhood, we are taught, we are demonstrated, we are basically conditioned to treat consuming as an act of pleasure, an act of reward, as something you do after you do your work, do your chores, whatever, do what has to be done, and then you get to enjoy consuming food, cartoons, movies, books, songs, whatever. Consuming is viewed as a reward after doing what you should do. This is simply amazing. But we're not taught to treat it this way. We are taught to, of course, not consume bad things, like don't consume, movies which teach bad things, maybe like some, controversial movies. Don't consume like drugs, alcohol, poison, yeah? So we do, of course, censor what we consume somewhat, but we don't treat it like the base for our bodies, for our souls, for our mind, for our future. We view it mostly as entertainment, as pleasure. We don't see it as something which should be meticulously chosen and properly vetted and very carefully selected. We view it as something which should be done on a free whim, like what my heart desires. That's where I go. I watch the movie I like. I eat the food I like. I listen to the music I enjoy, right? Once again, it never ceases me to be amazed how Like I never ate cream soups and now I enjoy it so much, even more than my wife, who originally asked me to make this. Now she's like, I'm bored with it already, but I still want to have more. It's so good. Creamy mushroom soup. Who would have thought? And so we just consume what we prefer, what we like. But when you think about it, it's insane. It's like you're at the helm of a ship. Your task is to guide this ship by using this wheel you have, the steering wheel. Of course, there are multiple variables. There are crews, individual like motors, individual parts of the ship, the engines, everything, which come together to make the ship go and work and propel forward. But you have to set the course and control the course, and you have to steer the ship so it doesn't veer off course. But you go like, wherever it goes is fine, and leave, like, release the control. It's insane, right? But we do this with our lives. When we consume what we like, what we naturally gravitate towards, what we enjoy, that's exactly what to do. And so we are a product of chance and some selection which is not properly controlled by us. And people waste a lot of time trying to improve themselves, to change their circumstances, to become more rich, more successful, better at something. To change their situation. And they spend many time on it, like a lot of time on it, right? But they don't focus on the main thing, which is how they feed themselves with all this information, media, everything, news, books, songs, everything, whatever. But that's like a huge part of it. And you waste so much effort to change your habits, to change your approach, to change your attitude. But don't control the biggest influence on all this. You control only a small part and you waste so much time on that, and then you take all this influence in without really vetting it properly and choosing it. It's ridiculous. But almost no one sees it this way. I don't know anyone who sees it this way. Whenever you ask like your friends, whatever, what you want to order, take out food, or like what movie do you want to go to watch, it's all about like, yeah, I like this one, like science fantasy and whatever, or like, oh yeah, let's order pizza, I love pizza. So it's like nobody like goes like this, we should watch this movie because it's gonna probably give us new information, it's probably gonna give us positive mindset, it's gonna reinforce good habits, it's gonna teach us something new. Of course not. Right? Nobody goes like this. It's insane. But it's true. And again, if you watch ads, you'll get bombarded by advertisements everywhere. The consuming is always presented as something you do on emotion, on a whim, what you like, what you prefer, you deserve this, give yourself a treat yourself to this, to that, you want this food, buy more, stuff like this. It's not like you're taught to properly consume and properly choose what to consume. You're sold on emotion. You're not sold like a car because of a car, like what it does, how it propels you from one place to the other, how it carries you and your luggage. No, you're sold an emotion, a feeling of high speed, like a wind, a trip to your favorite place, things like this. You're sold not like, for example, not a razor, but you're sold how women will like hug you and move their hand around like your shaved chin and be like, oh, so soft. All this bullshit, right? You're sold emotions And you're like constantly reinforced that consumption should be this emotional thing, emotional act, where you like go and do what you like. And that's, when you think about it, that's completely backwards. Because if you consume what you like, we live in capitalism, right? No matter what it says, socialism in Sweden, it's still capitalism. It's just limited a bit. It's still capitalism. So we live in a reality where it's all about making money. A lot of conspiracy theories can be explained simply by capitalism. It's not like someone has a conspiracy against you. They just want to make money. That's all, right? Let's try some sauce with this meat here. Let's see how it tastes with some sauce. Come on. This sauce is almost full, so it's hard to get out. Hopefully it's not yet too cold and it's been heated up properly. So try this hot sauce. So the content, since long time ago actually, was orchestrated and engineered so that you consume it more. Long time ago people noticed what kind of stories people like and don't like to listen to, what kind of stories captivate you and make you listen, what kind of stories are boring. So storytelling tropes and storytelling logic was studied and well known for centuries. A good shashlik though is good on its own, without any sauce. It tastes amazing already. Right, so like it won't be interesting to read about good relationships between people without any issues, conflicts, drama. It won't be interesting to read about someone, even if he's like a wizard in a world of wizards, if it's all fine and dandy and he's awesome. No. But you will read Harry Potter from book to book, from cover to cover. It's captivating because it has all these emotional roller coasters, highs and lows. It's all wonderful, then it's all crap, then it's again wonderful, then it's again all crap, so on and so forth. Like he's a wizard, but his parents are killed, but he survives, but he gets adopted by a terrible family who like keeps him in terrible conditions, but he gets to go to the zoo, but he's bullied and ostracized, but he gets this awesome experience with a snake, but then it's like awful, but then he gets a letter, but then he gets shoved off to this island, then he gets to the school, but then he's like, again, having issues in the school, but then he wins something, but then he is punished for some transgression, some failure, so on and so forth. It's an emotional roller coaster and it works. That's why people read these books from cover to cover. They are interesting, they are captivating, so people read them, right? So it all makes sense. So all the content is made this way nowadays. It's not like you like this food from the store, from fast food store, or this computer game, or this video game, mobile game, or a movie, just because you like it. It's because it's been made specifically to be liked. Right? When you install the game, immediately you are given this rush of dopamine, You are given some way or the other a sense of success and achievement. You're cool, you managed. Like the first levels are very easy, but made in such a way that you still feel a little bit challenged, and you feel like you learned something, you succeeded easily, you're like a prodigy, it's a natural thing to do for you. Like that. They give you this dopamine rush, you enjoy it, so they hook you on the game. It's the same with other games, it's the same with movies, everything. Of course it's best. It's just from the grill. But still, it's so good. It's good to have this heating surface here, which heats the food. It doesn't get too cold. Never eat too quickly, because the food gets too cold otherwise. Find ways to heat your food, whatever. Cook it again, but it's a very terrible thing when you get rushed to eat, because the food will get stale, cold, and not as tasty otherwise. Find ways to consume food that you can enjoy it slowly and properly chew every piece. It's very good for your health and for your overall enjoyment of life. Right, so you see, it's like, it's very important that you understand this. Once I grasped it, it was like mind-blowing. If you enjoy something, it's most likely have been engineered to be captivating, to hook you. Let's reorganize a bit. This goes here. This is the show, the pie. And it's like this everywhere. Food as well. Why is fast food? Why it's so popular? Why it's not very healthy? Because it triggers like processes in your body which shut down your satiety. When the food has a lot of quick carbs, or like high glycemic carbs, and fats, like a dessert, a burger, a pizza typically has, it shuts down your satiety, so you eat more and you want more. It also triggers dopamine release in the brain when you consume high-calorie food, or sugars, stuff like that. So it's engineered to make you like it and want more of it. It's just like, it's made this way. It's made specifically to work this way. That's why you enjoy it. You don't enjoy it because it's healthy for you, or good for you, or because it's beneficial for you. You enjoy it because it's been made to make you enjoy it. And so if you don't control this, you're at the mercy of these manipulations. And again, it's not a conspiracy, it's capitalism. It's better to sell food which sells itself, books which sell themselves. Like it's better to sell book which people would reference to one another, would read from cover to cover, like get immersed in, advise it to their peers, and can't wait to have the next book. When will it be out? I'll make a pre-order. Of course, it's the better book to sell if it's the book like this. Okay, so this pie, it works with khachapuri, which is a cheese stuffed pie, because the cheese binds together, top and the bottom of the pie, but here I don't know if it will work. I tried two options here. This is going to be the one where it's just two pieces and it doesn't seem to be working at all. It's actually quite terrible. So I think it's a failure, completely failure. Let's see. Can you eat this? I doubt it. Yeah, it falls apart. Okay. I have a second half here, in which I use the cheese to seal it at the edges. So we'll see how that turned out. This has an amazing taste, but it just doesn't work. As you see, it doesn't hold the filling inside. Unfortunately, the filling just runs away. I expected this much, but I wanted to try it anyway. Like, this base works perfectly when it's a base for a pizza, or when the filling inside is sticky like cheese and connects it together. Unless here doesn't work. So it's a mess. And so if you don't control it, you will like something which is engineered to be like and to hook you. You'll get hooked not on something which is good for you or beneficial, but on something which you randomly came across with, like randomly happened to find, and which got you hooked. Because it's been made to get you hooked. Like all these videos on YouTube, naturally you understand the thumbnail, the title. The thumbnail should be clickable, it should attract attention, some human emotion or some nice captions, some nice, interesting, curious picture. The text should be captivating. Like, you know, it's funny how in Russia it happens. We have a news aggregator like Google, but it's called Yandex. It's like a search engine, a news aggregator, and it aggregates all the news. And it's curious to see how it like makes the news more and more clickbait with time. So at first, for example, the headline pops that say, scientists have found that such and such is an early cause of coronavirus. And then in about several minutes, like 10 minutes, it changes to scientists have found this new sign of coronavirus. So like it obfuscates what it's talking about, so you have to click to find out what this new early sign is, right? And it's like this, everywhere. It's tailored to get you hooked, to get you to consume it, and to get you to want more of it, right? And so you don't control it, then you're controlled by those who do it to you. So what do? Do we like stop having food and content for pleasure? Of course not. I'm not against pleasure. I myself want to have pleasure every day and every moment. But I think this changes significantly the way we treat consumption, and we should treat consumption on average way more seriously. Like, you know, you get hooked on this new mobile game, waste some hours playing it, you're like, oh, I got hooked, wasted some hours, okay, no big deal, like, I'll catch up with my work. It is a big deal, because it has influenced you in some way or the other. It's not only spent time. It's not like you just spend some time and that's the extent of what happened. No. You allowed yourself to be influenced by this media. Okay, this is a disaster, holy crap. It's a tasty disaster. I'm going to try to salvage it as much as I can, but overall, yeah, it just falls apart. So most of the filling, I have to eat like this, with a fork. Still, the experiment is a success. Always treat your tries as success, your experiments as success. Never consider it a failure if something didn't work out. It's a failure if you haven't done it. Like if I would not have tried to make this, then I would say it's a failure. Because I could have tried and I haven't. That's a failure. I tried, that's a success. I succeeded in finding out this doesn't work. I still succeeded. That's a very important thing. We are all very frequently conditioned to hate failures, to hate mistakes. We should embrace mistakes and embrace failures and embrace failed attempts. What we should not embrace and accept is not made attempts. When you procrastinated, when you didn't do what you should have done. If you did it and it failed, it's a good experience. It's worth it to do. Of course, you should not go for failure, you should try to be successful. But if you failed, you learned something very important and positive. That's the key. So, it's not just you spend some time on some game. You get influenced by this game. How? Do you know? Is it good for you? Did this game teach you good habits or not? Did this game teach you something which will propel you forward in life or keep you from achieving your success? Do you know? So now I think, at least personally, my attitude towards consumption will change dramatically. Again, I still want to enjoy everything life has to offer, tasty food, good games, everything. But now I see how it affects me, and now I see I must be way more severely strict about what I consume, even in my so-called free time. Like, even if I can afford it, and it's not outright harmful to me, like it's not some drug or some poison, I should still be mindful how it affects me. I think it's the first thing to start with. Constantly be aware how what you consume affected you. How it affects you, what it changes in you, what changed in you because of what you consumed today, yesterday. Like, what morals does this book teach you, this game, so on and so forth. Because it's very important. And I find that, actually, now to think about it, unfortunately, many even like good and non-exploitative forms of, say, computer games and films and the books are quite harmful. For example, in games, often there are moral choices, but You don't choose them based on morality. You choose them based on what path you want to walk on, what kind of character you're building, like what perks do you want. Say if you are more offensive, you want to go dark side, and more defensive, you want to go light side. So you learn, the game basically conditions you to treat the world this way. And you should not care about morality, but you should care about what perks you want out of the actions you take. It's like pragmatism, utilitarianism, and it's quite harmful to society actually. Again, it's not like the games make you shoot people. It's not like you play a shooter and then go kill someone. No, of course not. Some people try to make this claim at court that, oh, I committed this violence because I played too much games, but there is no scientific evidence. Games cause violence. But these things, they affect you subtly. Of course, in the game you understand you're like a good guy, but you're doing this to experience this story arc or to get better as this character. But you still get affected. You get into this mindset. It's like passively happens to you. It just happens. And most people don't notice it happening because you aren't treating it this way, you aren't paying attention. It's tasty, but a complete mess. It should hold shape. Just pick it up and it holds shape and all the filling inside. You just eat it. Unless it doesn't. It's also the same about mistakes. I said you should not punish yourself for mistakes, but mistakes are permanent and they carry consequences. The games teach you can reload, start again, try again, cancel, usually at no cost. But in real life you cannot. In real life the cost is often there, and when you make a mistake, yes, you get valuable experience, but you also have to live with the consequence of your mistake. But if you play the game, you get this idea that a mistake can be reloaded. When in life you can't do it, you feel cheated. You feel like it's unfair to punish you for this mistake. You feel like the life is against you, like everything's stacked against you. Well, it's not. It's just how the life functions. The life functions on causes and effects, on consequences for actions. And if the game you enjoy has weak or no consequences for actions, it's gonna mess with you, make you weaker and worse. It's even worse with relationship, because relationships between people are very important to our society as a whole, to how we grow, how we improve. But we take cues from all these books and songs and novels and movies, where, as I said, it's never going to be perfect, it's never going to be good, because good, perfect relationship is not interesting to watch. It's always going to be drama, it's going to be trouble, it's going to be some incompatibility, some distance, some issues which people have to overcome. It's never going to be roses and daisies and rainbows. And of course, real life also is not always roses and rainbows, but you start to do it yourself. you start to sabotage your own relationships, because that's what you know. You know how they should be. And when your relationship, like this is almost perfect for some reason, when your relationship has insufficient drama, you're gonna make more drama. When it has insufficient issues and problems, you're gonna create those. Because that's what you have been taught. You've been trained on all those examples of relationships from the books, from the movies, from the songs, from novels, from poems, which are like that, with issues, with problems, with hardships. And so you create those hardships. And it's like, where do you get positive images of relationships? Many families nowadays, they are like divorced or they have issues. So children don't have a good example of a proper family, proper relationship. And then they look at their peers, and their peers also don't show a good example because they're all young and they don't know how to do it yet, mostly, like, right? So that's why they often fail. That's expected. When you try something new, you fail at first. But then that's the thing. We don't have any example in the real world of a good relationship. We only have examples of poor relationships. And we watch movies, read books, and etc., where we get all these bad examples. And so we start to copy it. We become what we consume. It's way better with the chili sauce, for some reason. Never tried it, but it's so good. Usually, when I bought a pot at the store, I would just eat it like this, but this one, way better when it's with some sauce. I think I know a sauce would be perfect with, so I'll be right back with the magic of video editing. The sour cream returns. I'm sure it's going to be delicious with some sour cream. Right, so you don't get any examples from your peers, from your parents, from good people. And so you get examples from all these books and novels, and you build crappy relationships. And then it takes people decades to figure it out. They fail so many relationships until they figure out it's them who is doing it. They find issues that make it happen so in themselves. And they're like, oh, if I just do this differently, it will be better. But you never think about it, because you get all these examples and you think you know how it's supposed to go. And it's the same everywhere. We accept all those ideas without properly vetting them, and it hurts us greatly. Like it is how a closed pie should be, just doesn't hold, unfortunately, because it's not connected properly, it's disjointed and too soft. to hold shape. Okay, this one has some cheese to help it. So let's see if some cheese will help it hold shape. Well, it seems to, like you can see. Nothing falls down here because there's cheese in there. A little bit of cheese. Get some more barbecue sauce here. It's a mess. 1 second, I'm gonna do this. And now to think about it, I understand the reason for all these fasting regimen that religions, most of them have. Like say Orthodox and Catholic, they would fast 4 times a year for several days, several weeks. They would fast every week, 2 days. And the point is not to like be all bored and negative and forgo all pleasures, but the point is literally to check how are you doing? What have you become? How are your inner systems functioning? What do you think? What do you look like inside? It's like a test. And while you're constantly consuming stuff, tasty food, entertainment, it's hard to make a pause and reassess yourself. When you take those away, which is what Orthodox and Catholic fasts are, take away tasty foods, take away the pleasures, that's when you can notice how have you been affected by them, how have you changed. It makes so much sense now to me. Muslims as well. It also makes even more sense on one side because with Muslim fasts you have to eat nothing and drink nothing and just do nothing of the sort for the whole day. Then you can enjoy in the evening. So it's a whole day of full fasting where you're like completely isolated and have to think straight, and you get a chance to really evaluate how you're doing. And again, the Christian fasts, they are aligned around the year in a reasonable manner. Like it's, for example, the biggest fast is before the Easter in the spring when the food is running low and like the harvest is not yet there, so the first fruits are not yet there, so it's nice time and place to actually fast, right? While Muslim fast, it's moving around the calendar because it's like aligned with moon calendar, not sun calendar. But maybe Muslims, they will have some arguments how their fast is more reasonable in some other way. I'm not very well versed in it, so I won't like argue which is better. But it makes sense now. Makes sense to tie it to something religious, something important, so everybody does it, because otherwise you would never have enough time, you would never have enough commitment, you would be so busy in your life you would never remember. But you have to do it constantly. You have to review how what you consume changed you, what kind of person you're becoming. And in order to do it effectively, you do have to remove all the pleasures. You do have to remove these distractions so you can see what's going on inside you. What kind of thoughts have you accepted? What kind of ideas have you associated with? Yeah, this does not work either. It does have some, like, at the bottom, but it still doesn't work. I guess the mince is to blame because it's like just too crumbly and doesn't hold shape. Maybe with some cabbage filling would work way better. I don't know. I should actually try. Yeah. Should actually try this with cabbage. Maybe it will work. Maybe. It's still delicious as hell. Very enjoyable. It should be edible by hand like this. Instead it's all on the plate. It doesn't work as it should. Otherwise it's awesome. Come on. The sauce supply is running low on these. Both of these sauces. So I think it's very important we start to pay more attention to what we consume and how it affects us. You don't have to abstain from pleasure and never give yourself freedom to enjoy what you want. But at least notice how it affects you. Does it bring you good or not? Does the food you eat bring you health? Energy. Do you feel energized after you eat? Or do you feel tired? Yeah. A tasty disaster on the main plate. Very tasty, but you can't argue this is a disaster. Maybe if there's a way to make this filling more sticky. Then could be saved. For now though it's impossible. Cannot be salvaged, unfortunately. So yes, first of all, I think it's very important to at least do some kind of vetting about what you consume and think more about how will this affect you rather than do you want it. Like, start to slowly switch towards this. Like, accept pleasure. What else am I going to get out of this? Yes, I will enjoy this pie, this soup. What else am I going to do after it? What after effect is it going to have on me, aside from giving me pleasure? And maybe there are better options, which will still give me pleasure, but also give me better effect. It's like, what's your priority? Understand, you don't have to like cut all pleasures and abhor all pleasure. It's all about the priority. After the priority, the number one priority is met, you can then choose according to your desires and pleasures. Say, I would enjoy having some dessert with sugar and butter right now, but I would also enjoy having this pie right now. But this pie, it has good proteins, good fats, doesn't mix fats with sugars, so it's way more healthy. It has more nutrients because it has better content of high nutrient dense foods. So you should choose to have this. Not some empty calories, right? I would enjoy drinking some cola because it's tasty, because it has sugar and caffeine. Or a healthy drink, a tea I sweetened with 0 calorie, 0 glycemic index sweetener. Of course, the second is better for me, so you choose this. Both are tasty and delicious, so why choose the worst? It's like this. And second is to, if you give yourself a moment to indulge and you indulge in some consumption without restraint and without proper weighting, judge how it affects you in practice. And for everything, you might be mistaken, right? You might think something is good for you, turns out it's cancer, it's poison. So pay attention how what you consume affects you, how you change according to what you consume. Are the videos you watch, the games you play, teaching you good habits? Do they bring out the best of you or the worst? A tasty mess. Really. The best way to describe it. A tasty freaking mess. So, watch and learn how this affects you, how that affects you, what kind of habits you gained. What does it bring out in you? Does it teach you good standards? Does it teach you good mindset? And yes, maybe something has to go and be replaced with something which is more beneficial. In the long run, you can thank yourself for doing this decision now. holy crap, such a mess here. I'm gonna have to clean this up now. Anyways. Right. Thank you all very much for being with me today. Make sure you subscribe and have turned on notifications so that you will be the first one to know when I release another Keto Mukbang video. And then check out this playlist right here. It's gonna have more Keto Mukbang videos that you will definitely enjoy. I love you all and see you all again real soon.